Alright, what's going on, guys? Getting ready to play some Hero Siege here. I am really excited for the new season that starts on March 2nd, and wanted to kind of, for my own sake and for anybody else that wanted to check it out, do kind of like a little leveling test, so to speak, for Marauder. Just kind of a start. Go over a couple little things that you want to keep in mind if it's your first time playing, or even if it's not your first time playing and you just, wanted, just a couple things to keep in mind while you're going through on your first character. Generally I play hardcore, but for the sake of this video and just for, the sake of I'm practicing, I'm going to not do hardcore for this character, because there's really no need to for this test. If you haven't played this game before, the first lesson I have for you, don't jump in the water. It kills you. There's little holes, there's going to be spots in the game where you have to jump them, and actually, there's spots where you can't progress without jumping stuff. Eventually, you'll get these relics. This is kind of like a roguelike system. Think like Binding of Isaac or something, where you get modifiers, and some of them are like little companions that follow you and shoot projectiles and stuff. One of the modifiers is flight, where instead of hitting a wall right here, I would just go over and you can't die in a puddle anymore. If you're playing hardcore, you basically need flight or you won't make it. So yeah, as you're going through on this first character, you very much, on any character that you're just fresh starting, this right here, that is a quest that you need to get. It's not clear because you can just like walk by it. No quest pop up. You want that quest. That quest. See that now it pops up with a quest? That is going to give you a potion, so you can have like a life flask or a mana flask if you're playing like a white mage. Basically everybody's going to want to use the... Oh boy. Yeah, this game... It wants you dead. I love it. But yeah, so that quest will get you your life flask, which is kind of... You're going to be gimped if you don't have it. Case in point, even right now, look, I'm not regenerating my health instantly without it. So it's something you want. Yeah. So this goose following me, I don't know if you've noticed him or her. It will run around and pick up gold, and this is offline, so it's crystals, but online it would be rubies. That'll pick up gold and rubies for you. You can buy a companion for $4.99 on the shop, but the goose is free. All you have to do is verify your account. I'm not 100% on the process because it's been years since I did it. I got this game years ago and didn't really play it much then, to be honest, because I prefer to play online. And the server stability back then was just no bueno. So couldn't really get much done, kept dying, playing hardcore online. It just kind of was rough. So yeah, I'm not sure how you go about verifying. I would assume just on the website for the game. For your first character, you're definitely going to want to go through and do that quest. Any quest, really. These quests will specifically give you... It's kind of random what the loot is, but you can get relics, which are, like I said earlier, that's how you get flight and a number of other modifiers. You'll have like percentage increases to stats and things like that. And so yeah, like early first character, you definitely want to do the quests. As you get further into the game and, build up your pool, because you won't lose gold or to crystals / rubies on death, so those will slowly build up over time anyways. As you get stronger, you won't necessarily need to do that and do every quest, because it is a little tedious. But first character, first action on a season start, it is worth it. So we're just going to go here. So I talked about crystals slash rubies. They're, you know, blue crystals here in online, which is my, you know, like I said, my preferred method of play, and I think it's more fun just engaging in the community a little bit. It's rubies, and rubies would be used for upgrading satanics, which are the, you know, with gear, you have different quality levels. You have normal, rare, or magic, rare, and then legendary, mythic, and satanic above that. And then there's technically a tier above that, which is angelic, but those are insanely rare. Insanely rare. I don't know the exact drop rate, but from my understanding, it's up there. Yeah, I've never seen one myself. Most people won't see one in a lot of play. But yeah, so rubies are used for upgrading the satanics, which are mostly just your end game pieces. And then they're also used as the currency for the auction house. So they, you know, very good to be amassing them, and trying not to waste them. There's like, you can buy a mythic chest in the town for 900 rubies, and it is very much not worth doing, because until you're just swimming in them, you can get like cosmetics out of it, like helmets and stuff. Like if you know, go to hats. So an example, I know that I got, oh no, I don't have them because it's online. It's different, I guess, for offline versus online. But I have this helmet in online, as an example. It's mystery chest hats that would come out of it costs 900 rubies, but it's, again, not worth doing that. You want to just be saving your rubies for either purchasing equipment on the auction house from other players, or upgrading your own gear at endgame. It's gonna require some patience. There's a lot of your progression is kind of gonna be based on your damage, because you can get defensives a lot easier than you can attacks. See, this is where I said the quests can give relics. I'm not gonna pick. Well, I'll pick it up just for sake of showing you get some stats, and that takes one of the slots. There's also trinkets like this. They also take a slot, but they are interchangeable. The relics are, now that I've gotten Jeffrey's subscription there, I cannot drop that without going to this guy here and resetting my relics. But if I do that, I lose all my relics. You can't reset one. So they are something that you're going to want to fine-tune eventually at some point as you figure out the game more and figure out what you want. There's some obvious, in the beginning, obvious choices where if you're playing a strength required character versus an energy required character, you would take one over the other. And just for a list of them so you can see what they do, you'll probably want to just like have a separate tab of the wiki open. That's just the easiest way to, you know, as you're going through and learning what each relic does, figuring it out that way. As far as abilities for Marauder, it's going to be your best friend, Change Rat. Kind of just eliminates the need to be unsafe. It can kind of keep you safe. So this is Rat's Den. This is a dungeon. You'll want to do these early on. These are just they're not the safest thing. The monsters are going to be a little bit stronger in here. I mean, it's a dungeon, but the rewards will also be a little bit better. So it's a, risk versus reward in softcore. Softcore is a little different. I don't generally play that, so I don't know what the optimum strategy is if you want to just rush to endgame, if you want to do all of this kind of content. Hardcore stuff is very, very rippy, and, it's tough. You'll want to take your time. On your first character, it's not a bad idea to be over-leveled a little bit. Doing these dungeons can help, and doing, just getting more loot and stuff. In the beginning, I would pick up everything. The grays, blues, and yellows, those all sell for gold, which you can then use to reset your talents, which is free until level 51. Then it begins to incur a cost. At level 100, which is max level, it will cost 37.5k. So in the beginning, it's kind of pricey. It's a little tough on your first character. So I would just, to start out, until you just start drowning in your screen, because you do have the option to filter out certain qualities. But until then, I would just pick up everything. Because, yeah, like I say, you're just going to want as much gold as you can get. And early on, that's the best way to get gold, is just vendoring grays, blues, and yellows. Legendaries and mythics will vendor for a dust of each quality, so one legendary dust or one mythic dust, and then you can use 2 legendary dust to craft a new random legendary for your level, or 5 mythic dust to do the same. You're not really going to be swimming in mythics up until you get into Nightmare. They're going to be more of a rare thing in the normal difficulty. And yeah, you're gonna want to do the Learn to Mine quest, because it enables some of the crafting. You can't do some of the crafting until you do it. Oh, that. Okay. Softcore, do whatever the fuck you want with this. Hardcore, I would avoid this early on. Okay, well, you don't have to, but basically, traps like that, this spike ball, traps do true damage. So you can see, it kind of chunks you, and it's not going to be the same layout every time. It's going to be random what traps you get. And sometimes, once you're in this, you're in it. You have to like portal out or whatever to get out of it. There's no just like backing out the door if you accidentally go in or something. They're just very early on, when you're kind of low gold, you don't have a lot of gear. They're a little tough and can have a boss spawn. Oop, yep, as you can see there, the little pentagram there. This is going to have one of those bosses, and they can be kind of tough when you're a fresh character and don't have a lot of gear going on. Traps can be... Oop, well, I failed it, but as you can see, you can jump traps, so you can jump and not get hit by the traps as long as you jump them. Well, for the spike traps anyways. Can't exactly jump guillotine traps. Those come down on you, and they hurt like a beezy. They hurt real bad. Okay, see, as you can see, this is a pretty tough, pretty beefy little mini boss here. And they're just, if you're doing hardcore, they can, look, as you can see, I'm getting chunked. Just, I mean, I'm eating them on purpose, but you get really smacked by these guys. So if you're playing hardcore and you're just trying to minimize how many deaths you do, these kind of dungeons where you just drop in are kind of just not safe. You can do it if you want, but you know, so it's those ones. I don't know what they're actually considered, because I'm like the red on the minimap, the rat den, that's a dungeon. I forgot to mention the rat den, that is like only spawns in Outskirts of Anoia, this map that we're in right now, and it is random, so every time you like restart your game, it may or may not spawn. When you get into Inferno difficulty, which is the 4th difficulty, it will actually require a key, which you have to just random drop to enter it. Oh, this is the guillotine I was talking about. I'll show you that. This monstrous hit. It hurts. Avoid at all cost. Overall, though, you just wanted to go through, and like I said, being over-leveled, I'm in the first map still, and I'm level 8. That's not a bad thing for your first character. Gives you a little extra safety net, just because things do hit quite hard. in this. As you can see, I was getting hit by a mini-boss in the first map at level 8, and it's, or 7, or whatever I was, and it's smacking real hard. Periodically, you want to go through and upgrade your gear. In the beginning, right now, like this level, I'll tend to just go for whatever gives me the biggest up on my armor arrows, because you can get an up on your damage arrow, but then it's not the right damage type. Spired Helm is an example. It does fire damage, so yes, that will apply to like my auto attack will deal the fire damage, but my abilities are physical. As you can see there, it's physical damage 23. So getting fire damage doesn't help my abilities any. For this guy, I want for the Marauder, you want physical. For playing somebody else like Pyromancer or I believe Pirate, those are the two that deal with fire damage. Then fire damage is good for you, but otherwise it doesn't really do much. And since we're going over the Marauder, we say physical is the enemy. You really, really, really want to do this quest because this is also the mining, learn to mine. Crafting with ore, with copper ore, you can make random relics, so that can be a quicker way to get the flight. And once you get flight, it really does just trivialize a good chunk of the content. It doesn't trivialize it. Well, it trivializes it, to be honest, it does. But it's more of a it sucks without it. Almost done with that one. Ooh. And we'll just go back real quick, turn those in. Oh, I forgot we were supposed to shock enemies too. Oh well, we'll get that done. See, I don't really do these all that often. I did them when I first made a character for the season that I was playing, season 11, online. But once you make a character or two, these become, yes, they roll relics, which see right there, golden cube, one of the best relics, 3% of all stats. But it just takes time, and there's easier sources of relics as you progress. When you get to Inferno difficulty, you mine ruby ore, and it'll only take 10 ruby ore to craft a random relic, as opposed to, I'll show you actually because I have it open now, mining crafting. So craft a random relic is 25 copper, so we can do that, and we get Orb of Ice, and then you pick up, and then it's there, right? But when you get to Inferno difficulty, you get to mine ruby ore. And ruby ore, you can use 10 to just make 25 copper ore and then roll that. So you get copper ore in normal, iron ore in nightmare, gold ore in hell, ruby ore, and jade in inferno. Jade is a low chance to proc when you get when you're mining ruby. As you can see here, takes a lot of mining to really start getting jade. You'll get it right away, but you just kind of need. It's going to take some time. You'll stock up slowly, and the things that require jade are well, we can't see, but it's like the upgrade token, the reroll token, these tokens, the satanic die, and I believe that's it. That's it for the most part. But they do really they're more of the like end game stuff, so we're not too worried about that right now. Right now we just want to keep pushing through, and oh, I took the waypoint instead of my portal like a doof. Here we go. So in this map, Pumpkin Patch, there's another dungeon that can spawn. Oh, and we got it. You can see it on the minimap there. Pumpkin Cellar. This is also a very good one. This is the one that I would definitely recommend. If you see it, do it. It's going to be tough. Be careful. In hardcore, you have to really be careful. Utilize the barrels here, because the mobs can't run past them. they can attack over them, but they can't run past them, so you kind of can prevent yourself from getting overwhelmed on that first entry there. And you really want to do this one because you get a free mythic chest at the end of the dungeon. And I'll show you as soon as we get there. The mobs are going to be beefier. See, these unknown mobs have quite a bit of health. But it's nothing we haven't seen, so we did that other dungeon and saw, you know, 3k health or so, the mini-boss. So our attacks can't go over these either, but you can throw the chain traps over them. So these, you can utilize these barrels though in the early to, you know, keep these mobs away from you, because they're slow moving, but they hit like a truck. If you didn't get it, if you don't have it already, I do recommend on the on Steam, you can, one of the little expansion DLC things you can buy is extra inventory and stash space. It makes this process, like, it makes the game, it's not unplayable without it, but it's one of those things that once you have it, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, you know, it's, you get 200 slots as opposed to 80 or 100, I believe, slots in your inventory, and likewise in your stash. It just really increases your ability to, you know, not have to go back constantly. Okay, so there's, I was saying that free mythic chest. It's over here. We have walls, it's in its own little area. Where you want to go for that is right here. See where my attack doesn't go through walls here, but it does right here. So this is akin to the water, where when we hit a wall, so if you had flight, you would just glide right over this, but because we don't have flight, there's a barrier here, because under this wall are spikes that will kill you. You have to jump them. And then as long as you do that, you're fine. And it's not like a tricky thing. Just you hold the direction towards it and jump, you'll make it. Then you get, oh, see, look, we got a mystery hat out of that. That's the same as those mythic chests I was talking about that required rubies. You can get mystery hats, or you can get mythic gear, which is more what I was hoping for because they're a big boost to the leveling in the beginning. But whatever, we get to look like Soldier 76 now. So yeah, Pumpkin Cellar, definitely worth doing just for more XP, more loot. It's kind of the name of the game here. Because you'll get this far, and I mean, if you're playing for the first time, most likely, most of the bosses will get you at least once. They'll catch you unawares if you don't know the mechanics, and they'll take you down. They have no remorse. Oh, there's our map. See, I keep forgetting to do the shock. I really don't like that quest, but it's worth it for the beginning, just getting relics and things. So we just shock a bunch of dudes. We'll go back after we finish it real quick. And there's another one. This one I'm gonna skip because I feel comfortable enough where I'm at right now. If you don't feel comfortable, these dungeons are just always worth popping into because they have higher density, so you'll get more XP in that than you will running around in the regular top world map here. And they have just slightly better, just because of the density and the number of rare mobs and stuff in there, they have a little bit better loot drops. So as you're leveling on Marauder, or just on anybody really, there are thresholds where, like, to start out, you can only put 5 points into any of the skills that you have unlocked, and then at, I believe it's 20, you get to go to 10, and then around 30 or 35, you get to go to 15, and then at 48, you get to put 20 points into any skill, and that's where it caps out, is 20 points. So in the beginning, you're just going to want to put points into, you can play around with it. I would do Chain Trap, and then you can play around with these other ones. Bouncing Grenade is kind of whatever. But between serrated chains and heavy ball. They're both pretty interchangeable and both pretty good. And then you'll just want to, like, every once in a while reset your talents pre-50 when it's free, and just kind of re-administer your points to cap out specific ones, because it's better to have 10 points into one thing than 5 points into two things, generally speaking.
Beast mode activated.
So now that we did that quest, we get to do this. The quests on this guy aren't necessary to get the quest to kill Gurag, but he does give us that right there, that little coffee cup. Pick that up and you get, where is it? Yep, you get speed and attack speed, 15% for 10 minutes. Cool little buff, helps you out. You can kind of utilize that to, shoot, I mean, you could theoretically get all the way to the boss in that amount of time. You know, if it's your first playthrough, you might not. You might be taking your time a little bit more, but it's fairly just, you know, you're going to want to go at whatever pace feels comfy to start. You know, you might not be, if you're coming through first time, you don't expect to be at the head of the pack. Because even the people that do know how to play the game can still get just caught by a projectile and one-tapped when you're rushing through and not over leveled, especially. When you're under the level of the map, it can kind of be sketch. See King's Garden.
Beast mode activated.
Heavy ball, that's our heavy ball proc. It's fun. It really is one of the more fun things. Unfortunately, it's not... Well, it's a Season 11. I don't know for 12, but for Season 11, it's not the best. It's kind of just okay. Just unfortunately, the Juggernaut side of the tree isn't amazing right now. The bombs and such, the things that you get aren't amazing. The heavy ball is awesome, and I'm thinking about trying to figure out how to utilize that. But you know, skill points are kind of everything, so waste not, you know. This is why I like Marauder. Kind of feels like Traps in Path of Exile, if you've ever experienced those. It's a lot more hands-off. Ooh, we got an actual use trinket now that'll be fun. We can press buttons and it blows up. Use trinkets, they all have a different effect. You can feel free to grab those ones. Those ones aren't like it's not like a mistake to grab it, because the one that you have equipped will just go to the ground where the other one was, and you can kind of swap back and forth with them and try them out a little bit. Those use relics, because they do take a relic slot, but you know, it only takes the one and it replaces the relic in the slot too, so it doesn't like hurt you to pick up use ones and try them out. Oh, our door's down there. Getting the waypoints is always worth, just for, you know, progress sake. If you want to reset the map and clear some of the content again, if you're ever feeling squishy or feeling like stuff is getting too tough, that's always an okay thing to do. But being overleveled, it shouldn't be too tough. Especially on Marauder. I can't attest for every class. I haven't even played every class yet. But Marauder it's pretty fun. It's my favorite so far, so that's the one I've kind of fixated on the most. And Marauder just kind of starts to trivialize stuff a little bit. Not too much. You still die. I'm by no means perfect on it either, but it really does get away with a lot more than some of the other classes because of the fact that you have chain traps that pull mobs and, you know, they keep you a little bit more safe. Kind of can prevent you from getting overwhelmed, especially early. So this is the pre-boss dungeon that we're in right here, Force Temple, for the Act 1. These, if you're feeling weak, I talked about resetting the map. If you're feeling not too strong, these dungeons are generally worth doing, like, multiple times. If you need more power, you can clear the dungeon up to the boss and then reset. If you're feeling uneasy about doing the boss, it's always an okay thing to do, excuse me. Because the density is better in here. They are about to nerf the density, so I can't attest to how it's going to feel after, but I would assume that it's still going to be better than just outer maps. Like, the density is clearly way more, so even if they nerf it, it should still be better than running through King's Gardens, for instance. As you just saw, I got a negative buff when I walked up to that demon shrine. There's a relic called Horned Mask. You want it. It removes all the negatives. You can only get positive buffs from the demon shrines. And yeah, not getting negative 35% attack speed and only ever getting positive attack speed, damage, speed, or XP gain is very, very good for leveling. And just good for everything. It's not just leveling. It's not limited to leveling. Even at, you know, you'll still want XP at 100 because you'll get the hero levels, which are, you know, akin to the Paragon levels if you've played Diablo. And that starts at 100. Walked by the door, wasn't paying attention. But it's still good. It's always safe to get as much XP as you can. I'm just gonna put points into that.
I'm not doing this for the bounty, just for the blood and fire.
These are, so yeah, as you can see there, I got 15% XP. Getting positive XP, awesome. Getting negative does not feel good when you're first going through and you're kind of weak. You know, you don't. I mean, it is what it is. It's not going to kill you, and it's worth going for the positive. But negative and positive buffs will override each other. So I had that 15% attack speed that had the same duration as the 15% speed, but when I got that original negative attack speed, it overrode the increased speed. But if you have, say for instance, 30% increased XP, and then you get a 15% increased XP, a lower one will not override a higher one. A better roll will override a worse roll. So like, if you get, you know, if I got 30%, it would override this, but if it was reversed, you know, if I had 30% increased, then I would not be able to. You don't downgrade your positive. You only go override positives with negatives or negatives with positives. These rooms are generally worth clearing, kind of like the dungeons. You just get a good amount of density, and as you can see, getting quite a bit of loot. The bosses in every act have puzzle rooms like this, where, you know, I did the first two. This one is just a switch on either side, and then a switch on either side to open the various doors. Some of them have a little bit more to them than others. This one's fairly quick and easy. Kind of like it's showing you how it works. And we got the act boss. So for this guy, main things you're going to want to watch out for are the lightning balls. Those balls will hurt. I blocked it. Let's see. I'm going to get hit by one just so you can see. These rocks will follow you and then explode too. if they stack up, they'll hurt. I'm gonna take a little damage so we can test it out. Oh, see, there you go. Accidentally got hit twice, instantly killed me. It's a lot. As you can see, it's a lot. So yeah, be careful. Now we have to run through the whole dungeon again. Nice job on the test there, me. Yeah, that just goes to show when you're inexperienced and don't know what each little thing is gonna do, you're gonna get caught a lot and die. Basically, my first time playing, I died when I saw that boss, and then I was like, okay, and then I did it again and cleared it, and then I died when I got to the Act 2 boss, and I was like, okay, and so I made a new character and cleared that, and then I got to the Act 3 boss, and I died on the Act 3 boss, and so on and so forth. It just kind of, you know, true to any other hardcore game, you kind of learn with pain. You just get to experience death quite a lot. So if you're not, you know, if you don't have the time or don't like having to restart a lot, then I would recommend softcore. Hardcore might not be for you. But, you know, hardcore is just so much fun. I don't know, it makes it more satisfying when you hit those high points. So now we just got to go through again. And see, this is an example of getting the reset. Kind of reset the whole map, so we just get to run through and get more XP again. There's never anything wrong with that. That's always not a bad investment early on. You know, it's just going to be a little more time, but you're getting more security with the increased strength that you're getting from more skill points and such. Ooh, and we're 15, so it's actually 15 that you get to put, or we're 16 now, but 15 you get to put in 10 points into one ability, and that's where you'll just get way more power out of it, and it just becomes worthwhile to do that. I'm gonna kill a little bit, but we're just gonna try to go through quick so we can clear the Act boss and get into the Act 2 town, and I think that'll be a good stopping point for now. Oh, Mimic. Those are always fun. Golden Ring will take that. 3% stamina. It's always a good one. Pretty much all of the golden. There'll be golden, silver, and rusted relics. The silver and rusted are generally never worth taking, just because you're limited to how many you can get, relic-wise, and there's a lot of good ones. The gold ones, if it's the stat you need, strength versus energy, which is, energy is kind of like intelligence, but it's energy, not int. So generally, like those ones, or you know, whatever stats end up your character needs, those are going to be what you want to go for. And like I said, the wiki will be your best friend for the relics and learning what each one does, because there are quite a few of them. Got a 30% XP gain, cool. So yeah, I'm just going through, like I said, I'm in the early levels. I'm kind of just for sake of being speedy, going for the biggest up on the defensive stats. But again, as you progress, you'll want to actually look at pieces, make sure you're getting the right damage type, getting, you know, worthwhile stats. You know, do you need mana per second? Do you need, you know, strength? Do you need energy? What, you know, you'll want to look at those kind of things and what you need. But, oop, inventory's full. Okay, so we'll kill the boss and then vendor all of our things. See, as you can see, just getting the couple pieces of gear that I got, I now am much stronger against the boss. These, again, avoid those. See, they hit quite hard. And, yeah, we'll just finish the boss so we don't have to redo it again. Everything hits hard in this game. That's the end all. Everything wants you dead. Let's just drop a random piece of gear so we can pick up that longsword. And then, yep, okay, cool. So, yeah, in summation, for at least the Act 1 start, the random goose, you're going to want to get that. You're just going to have to verify your account to get the goose. It's free. Do not have to pay for your first companion. It is free. Puddles are your enemy. We'll go over it one more time in case you weren't aware. Oh, can't do it in town. Saved by the town. Puddles are the enemy. You can die in puddles and little holes, and it is very frustrating to die that way in hardcore, believe me. I've done it too many times. It's not fun. Relics are very good, and you want to find flight. When you find flight, puddles are no longer the enemy. Puddles are just something that you see on the ground. So yeah. Quests are optional, but I recommend on your first character because they will give you rolls at relics. I mean, in this case, you want 2 relics from this. So I'll show you actually mining. Let's see. Oh, we don't have enough. Never mind. Yeah, so that's kind of it. I'll see you guys in the next video, and hope you guys enjoy this one.